just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
Well, you were a recently married woman there, Amy Kay.
Yeah, very recent. Just a couple weeks ago.
You are, was it last week?
What?
Was it last week?
Did I get married last week? No, I got married on the 20th.
Oh, but you were gone that Monday, right? Were you here all of last week?
Yes.
You were?
Literally, I was gone
I felt like it just happened.
like 2 weeks ago. My wedding was almost 3 weeks ago.
You have a week longer in tenured marriage than I thought you did.
2 and like a half weeks.
Well, I guess besides the point.
Okay.
But you're really close with Steven's mom.
Yes, I think so.
What do you call her?
Her name?
Okay. You've never been like, hey, Mom.
No, I've never said, hey, Mom. I refer to her as my mother-in-law. Even before we were married, I would still say she's my mother-in-law.
Well, what do you make of this one from Playhouse family member Megan? She says, I need a quick gut check on something that feels small, but also not so small. I just eloped with my fiance, now husband, and I'm still getting used to saying that. Yay! And everything has been great, but the other day we were with his parents, and I called them by their first names, as I always have. His mom kind of laughed, put her hand on my knee, and said, oh, you call us Mom and Dad now. I kind of laughed, but she wasn't joking because she corrected me again later. I smiled after she corrected me the second time, and I did try it. They seemed to really enjoy it, but it felt so weird coming out of my mouth. I don't want to be disrespectful or seem distant, but Mom and Dad seem reserved to my mom and dad, my actual parents. Is this something that other people do? I don't feel like I've heard of this in anything other than movies.
So at first I thought it was just like kind of a joke, how she played it off and laughed. And that's when I would assume, no, you're part of the family now. Haha, you can call us Mom and Dad. When really those aren't the terms you're going to use, but they're just saying we're going to treat you like our child now. You are in the family. The fact that they kept pressing and they're like, no, you mean Mom.
That's so creepy.
That is so weird.
And uncomfortable. I think if you kind of were persistent and you just kind of kept with what you've been doing always, eventually that would stop. But gosh, if they keep pushing it, do you ask your now husband to be like, can you get her to stop with that? It's making me feel weird. I get she's just being nice, but it's making me feel weird.
That's what I think. I don't even think you deal with it any longer. I think he needs to say something hey, I know you guys are just being really nice to her and you're welcoming, but she does have her own mom and dad, and those are the terms she uses for them. To her, she's going to call you this. Please stop pushing her.
Yeah, I also am on a first name basis with my in-laws. It never would have made any sense to me to be otherwise. I think they'd be confused if I was like, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, because those aren't my parents. The only person that I'm like, well, I guess that's not technically true, is she has my wife's grandmother. Everybody calls her grandmother. And so I call her grandmother. But that also doesn't feel weird to me because my grandma and grandpa are grandma and grandpa. So in my mind, it's a different name. There's only one person in my life called grandmother.
This grandmother, I've never met her, but she reminds me of the willow tree from Pocahontas, grandmother.
Yeah, that's what everybody calls her. She's from the South, so she's got a heavy accent. It all suits her.
Yeah, but you're comfortable calling her that.
Yeah, it didn't bother me in the slightest. But I'd like to think that if I was like, sorry, you're Phyllis to me, nobody would have argued with me.
Yeah, I
think.
would hope not. The fact that they keep pressing, isn't that weird?
It is weird. The fact that she corrected her makes me so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the Playhouse family that, I guess, A, does do this? I'd just be curious how that came about. Did they suggest it? You just start doing it? You just start calling your in-laws Mom and Dad? Or B, has thoughts on how to push forward from here? Because she's not comfortable with it. Does she have to say something? Does she just keep ignoring it and hope it goes away? I'd like to think it would just go away eventually.
What would be a worse situation to be in? Them continuing to be like, no, call us Mom and Dad. Or you think you get along great with these people, and I don't know if you call them Mom and Dad or mother-in-law, and they're like, no, please call us by our first name. Dale.
Hey, Mom. No, that's Carol to you.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you actually do this at all? Is that a thing that happens?
I can't do it.
So you're more of a supporter of the first name basis?
Yeah, or Mr. or Mrs. until you get to that point with them. I don't know. I feel like I feel like there's a respect line, unless, unless the situation's different somehow. But for me, I just can't.
Yeah, I think, and that's what we're seeing from a lot of people that just think it's weird.
Yeah, someone said, I'm sorry, but no. You get one mom, one dad. The title is earned over a lifetime, not handed out with a marriage license. I get being polite and being respectful, but you can't just change your parents. Also, if you're calling them mom, dad, like if you're having a conversation with your husband and you're like, Mom texted me. And then he's like, well, which mom? My mom? Your mom? See, now we're getting confusing.
How awkward would it be if, let's say, like 10 years from now, they get divorced? They have kids. So they keep seeing these people. They overlap. And then one time she's like, hey, Mom. And the woman's like, it's Carol now.
Yeah. Someone did say, if I'm talking to my husband or his brothers, I say mom, but to her, I say her name. So now we call her grandma because of my daughter. That is a good natural where she'll get a nickname kind of, but not mom. Grandma. I guess I refer to my mother-in-law as grandma when I'm talking to Brooke.
Not everybody bakes a baby before they have to deal with this problem, baby.
Someone said, so I call my mother-in-law Mama and my mom just Mom, and something similar. Someone said, I call mine Mama T and then Big Dave. It's affectionate, but still feels me, so you can get creative with the names you use. And someone said, why don't you pull them aside and kindly say, hey, I love you guys, but calling you mom and dad feels a little too much for me. So you can be respectful and honest at the same time.
Listen, we were already mad that you eloped with our son. Now we hate you.
Someone said if someone corrected me like that, I would double down and use their first name even harder.
Carol. Hi, calling the in-laws mom and dad. What say you?
I'm about to get married in a few months, and I have been bouncing that back and forth. There's some times where in my mind I'll say, mom and dad in my mind, but I don't feel comfortable calling them mom or dad yet. I don't know if there's supposed to be some ritual or should I ask them permission. It's kind of awkward, but they do act like parents at times. So, like my future father-in-law, I like to call him Pop. I don't know why. I don't call my dad Pop, but he acts like a pop.
It works.
So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should send them a card or ask them some, will you be my pop, or can I call you mom? They haven't volunteered it.
Yours is fascinating because you're the opposite of this situation, right? Because in this case, it's the in-laws are like, oh, no, really, you can call us mom and dad, and she's not super comfortable with it. Can you imagine this is your son or daughter-in-law, and they start trying to, call you mom or dad, and you're like, and you have to be the one that's like, it could be Carol, it could be Dave, it could be, you don't like it.
That's what I'm saying. What would be worse? I think if that was happening where they're wanting you to just call them by their first name, that would be even more hurtful.
Like you tried it on for size and they were like, gross, no.
Don't do that
call me
ever
Jim.
again.
Oh, God. I mean, overall, I think we're getting a lot of support for you, Megan, just being like, oh, hey, I don't know if I care for that, or pawning it off on your husband.
That's what someone said. This is actually on him. That's his family. He needs to tell his parents she's not comfortable with that. It shouldn't fall on you to manage. And someone said maybe there's a middle ground. Could you do Mama Jane or Dad Mike? Give them a creative name. Lots of people are saying that. And someone is pointing out, how would your real mom feel about this? Oh, you got a new mom now? Interesting.
I actually think that Amy had the solution for you a little bit by accident a couple of minutes ago, and that is you need to, as quickly as possible, get pregnant.
Pump out a baby because then she becomes grandma.
Problem solved.
Someone said as long as you aren't calling him daddy.
Is frowned upon. Hey, what if you even just got a pet? And you started being like, go get grandma. You can start calling him grandma because you got a dog or cat or something.
True.
There's that too.